Hey, welcome back everyone, Jayborino here. I got another HeptaCraft replay for you. It is the same two players as the last match that I casted. We did see a mirror matchup of Infested v Infested last time with soLo and Rain. This time in the bottom right we have Rain, who randomed between Covenant and Nerazim, and got Covenant. We'll talk a little bit more about Covenant. We have seen them a lot in the past, but I'll go over their race. Again, for people who have not seen them, very, very cool. In the upper left we have our star Infested player, soLo. I believe soLo played nothing but Infested in the livecast tournament that we saw a couple weeks ago, so it may seem that Infested is his main race. He likes them a lot. Infested has been redesigned by Summerloud, or I should say is in the process of being redesigned. I don't know when it will be complete, but when it's done, as of recording this, I don't believe it's done, but as soon as I get a new video, I will show the Infested changes. But I do quite like Infested as it stands right now, so I'm not sure when I hear redesign what that really means. We will see. Anyway, Covenant race is sort of the Amon race, if you will. It's a mix between very cheap Mobius units, as you got your Mobius Commando making your Mobius SCVs, and then you have a Tal'Darim mothership. It does not have an attack, but it does build Tal'Darim buildings. You do have your Mobius magazines, which are your supply structures. Warping in his anvil, I believe there's 3 or 4 Tal'Darim tech structures. Tal'Darim units are expensive and very powerful, but you can only build them one at a time from your mothership. So that is, in my opinion, how that is balanced. I do really like the Covenant race, but we did not see them perform too well in the livecast. I'd love to see some expert Covenant plays eventually. Maybe today's the day, I'm not sure, but I just like the mix between the Protoss Terran of the Covenant. It's very, very, very neat. Okay, so we have a fast expansion here from soLo going down. The last matchup between these two players was really, really cool. We saw really interesting Baneling drops coming in to balance the ground game with a lot of Corruptors in the air, with those Plague Hosts sort of turning the tide in specific situations. So now that we don't have a mirror matchup, I'm interested to see how Infested can perform against Covenant, and vice versa, how Covenant really performs against Infested. So it looks like Rain throwing down some Mobius magazines, and there goes his Mobius compound, effectively his Mobius barracks, where you get a lot of those cheap units down here on the low ground, so he can probably take his expansion quickly. We do have a Devotee coming out. These are better versions of Zealots. They're slightly more expensive, and they have a very fast move speed. So you see this pretty frequently from Covenant players. Well, they'll warp out a quick Devotee and then run it across the map because it is quite fast. So we'll see what this Devotee can get done. soLo already spreading his creep out. He's got a couple Roaches coming out. I'm curious to see how this amount of Roaches can fare against a single Devotee. It looks like soLo possibly going to just run away, or it looks like he's sticking around. Rain not sure what he wants to do with this. soLo going to maybe chase him down with these Roaches, but as soon as they get off creep, they might not be able to keep up with it, and the Devotee goes running away. We have another Devotee coming out along with one Warbot from the Mobius compound. Warbots are very, very weak, but they can shoot while moving, so they're pretty decent harassment units. Rain saw these Roaches being built, so it's possible that he decided, I probably should go back to base and make sure I can defend against this with my Warbot and single Devotee. Now he should have 2 Devotees out there. They are. Has not thrown down his second Mobius Commandome yet, but he does have a Tal'Darim Citadel coming up, which will allow him to make these Ascendants, which function very similar to how they did in the campaign. They have that Psionic Orbits, very, very good. So here go the Devotees. As you can see, they are quite fast. The Roaches think they might be able to kite them, but not quite. It looks like between the movement speed of the Devotees, plus the Warbot shooting while moving, he might actually even be able to chase down these Roaches. The Roaches realizing they have to turn and fight because they will get picked off as they run across the map. These Roaches very weak, only 45 hit points, and getting taken out by these 2 Devotees and the Warbot. Rain deciding he's going to press his early game advantage by pushing out again, continuing to push out, I should say, with these Devotees, and we'll see if soLo's going to be able to hold on. He's got Leo Reconstitution started with 9 Roaches. Will 9 Roaches be enough against these Devotees? They do have that base +1 armor with a reasonable amount of health. There's 7 Roaches right there, going to chase them away, and without the Warbot support, it's possible that the Devotees decided they did not want to mess around with that. You will notice some units, and I think it's specifically mechanical units, have this debuff, which is creep impairs movement to 70%, but the Devotees do not have that, so it's possible that that's because they're biological, they're not affected. I'm not sure what the consistency is with that, but I like it. It's a nice little touch. I'm not 100% sure why the Devotees aren't affected, but my first instinct is to say it's because they're biological and they don't have gears that get impaired by the creep or something like that. I'm not really sure. So here come the Roaches coming in. We're going to see if he can kite these around. He is on creep, so he still can't quite match this 4.2 movement speed. No, not really even that close, but he's going to try to pick up these Warbots because they are slowed down. He's going to try to get rid of them because they can shoot while moving, but the amount of damage they do is minimal. It's only 5 damage. And here we go. More Roaches coming down. Can soLo hold on? We have a lot of early pressure here from Rain. Rain building his expansion, 2 more warbots and an Ascendant coming up. If he can get those up there, we're going to see if soLo's going to be able to hold on with these roaches. Picks off 1 devotee. Can the second one go down? Honestly, if he can get rid of the devotees, he doesn't really have to worry that much about the warbots. They are pathetic in terms of damage. They're not going to be able to out-damage the health regeneration of these brood hives anyway, and there we go. Huge amount of roaches, 12 roaches coming down, able to clean up this attack. So that's an interesting thing about Infested, is that they have very, very high health regeneration on their structures. Their units do as well, but only at night. For example, if we head over to one person's view here, we have soLo where it says daytime. And we even have a list here of the different things of day and night, which is pretty neat. I would have to go through and take a look at those separately one day. Now is not the time. I didn't realize that every race had specific benefits. I honestly only thought of Infested. And then I realized, well, if there's a day-night cycle, I assume that there must be a reason. So here we go. We have 12 roaches moving across the map, but 2 Ascendants. They do not have enough for Psionic Orb right now. Oh, dear. And there's 1 Psionic Orb going down, doing huge amounts of damage. And this Ascendant barely getting out with his life. 1 hit point. What a guy. And this amount of roaches is going to pick off, force a cancel on one of those Mobius magazines. We've got the Tal'Darim Mothership moving up here, probably wanting so that I can warp in those Ascendants just a little closer to the battlefront when he wants to. More warbots coming out. We have, let's check out the income of both players. Fairly even. Rain just slightly behind, probably because he doesn't have as many SCVs compared to Feederlings. Looking pretty good, and my question is, will we be seeing any Harriers right now? You don't need pylons to power these structures, I should point out. You do have separate, you have your Mobius upgrades, and you have your Tal'Darim Anvil for your Protoss Tal'Darim upgrades, which is pretty cool. And then we have 16 roaches here from soLo. We'll see what soLo's planning on doing. We have another Ascendant coming out, and there's that Soaring Roost. We do know that soLo quite likes his Infested air builds right here. So eventually maybe he'll be able to get this Organic Carapace, which we saw last game he used to harass down a lot of his opponent's expansions, which was really, really helpful, but it is a Terrazine upgrade. Yes, 75 Terrazine. Both players, neither player looking like they've used any of their Terrazine yet. 5 warbots, 6 warbots, not huge, and a few of these droids do have a passive nano repair, which can repair these mechanical units, but you have to research it. He doesn't have it. So currently these droids, they have a mild attack, but it's mainly that they can spot detecting, they can use the sensor power to detect for a brief time. So eventually, it doesn't look like he's researching nano repair right now. He's getting another Mobius compound right here to block his forward ramp to defend his third base from the front. Granted, this can be bypassed, and then there's rocks here as well. So this may hold for a while. I don't see roaches getting through those rocks for a while, but it doesn't matter. We do have 5 Corruptors moving across the map, and we do have that Tal'Darim Met Pit coming up, so we may see some Harriers coming out from Rain, which are very, very powerful anti-ground, but it won't matter if these Corruptors can get in and start doing some damage. He may pick off this building SCV. Yes, he does turn. He decides to stop it. No engagements going on across the map. We'll just keep an eye on these Corruptors and see what they decide to do. soLo is supply blocked right now, and we'll see. It looks like he's really focused on this. He's going to pick off a lot of SCVs. These Corruptors, I would argue, not quite as good as Mutalisk. They don't have a bouncing attack, but they are very, very powerful in this Psionic Orb going out. The thing about these Corruptors is I would say early on, like very early Corruptors aren't quite as good as Mutalisk, but as you upgrade them, they become much better because you have a damage over time with them. I mean, we would see them turning and picking off those Cobras. Cobras, honestly, they're kind of like the air equivalent of Warbots, though. They are very, very, very fast. You can move them across the map at incredible speeds. They're great for harassing. Tried to get them in there to pick off some of these Corruptors, but they did get picked off very, very fast. We did see some Psionic Orbs going out there, more Cobras coming in. It's possible that I missed those Cobras across the map. They're so fast. I didn't even see them moving over there. We've got more Corruptors coming out. 8 total Corruptors kind of hanging out here by soLo. We're going to see what he's going to choose to do. It's possible he's just going to harass the crap out of Rain. And we'll see how Rain decides to react against these Corruptors. Maybe, yeah, he's trying to get up a missile battery right now. Missile batteries. It is not a missile turret. It's a missile battery. It can attack ground and air. Decent, very decent structure. It can also detect very, very versatile defensive structure, similar to a photon cannon. I'm not sure how the damage stacks up. It does 8 attacks for 5 damage. That's 40 damage. That's pretty reasonable. It does attack slower, though, of course, for that amount of high damage. Not to mention, the Mobius Command Dome does have orbital strikes, so we'll see if that will be used. It's the 100 energy actually means 1 strike. So the 1 orbital strike, it's the 50 and then 100 versus armor units, is the 100. You can only do it 1 time, and if you have enough energy, which is full energy 200, you could do it twice. So that's about it. Also, there's this orbital update, which reveals the entire map for 1 second, so it basically allows you to see where all your opponent's bases are, and if you're fast enough, you might be able to see where their army is placed. Alright, we have a lot of Cobras here. Again, these are very weak and can get wiped out very fast, but with this amount, We'll see Rain sneak in there and probably get rid of a lot of workers. I'm also keeping an eye on the minimap for those Corruptors to see what they decide to do. More Cobras, even more Cobras coming out from Rain, and there's Rain moving in here now, going to take out a lot of these Feederlings. We do have Ravagers, which can attack air, going to shoo away those Cobras. Again, look how fast they are. They're so fast. You do not want those involved in a straight-up fight. And here come the Corruptors harassing Rain's third base. Wow, look at those Psionic Orbs, and the Corruptors smartly moving perpendicularly to not get wiped out. If they would have stayed there any longer, they may have all died. Here come the Cobras zooming back home. A lot of Cobras, 16 Cobras. That is a lot of Cobras, and again, those die very, very fast. I would say Cobras almost strictly harassment units, and maybe if you can move them up here, that would be smart. Keep in mind, these Broodmothers for Infested cannot attack air. And here come the Corruptors again. We've got 14 Corruptors swinging down here, going to try to mess with the fourth base of Rain. Rain doing a lot of macro play, more than I've seen most Covenant players so far. It's really, really nice to see a macro build-out of Covenant, and we have another missile battery coming up, more Cobras, and it looks like Cobras really the big focus of Rain right now. We do have a Harrier now. These Harriers are vanguards from the campaign. They do a huge amount of damage. All these Cobras zip zooming back home. It looked like they were going up there to harass the third base, and there are those Psionic Orbs. You'll notice the Psionic Orbs move very, very slow, so it's twofold. One, on the offensive end of that, they will do more damage, but it also allows your opponent more time to move out of the way. So Psionic Orbs, in my opinion, it's like a buff and a nerf. It's balanced in both ways because it does do extra damage if your opponent just sits in it, but it also, they have an opportunity to move a little bit more. This single Vanguard is so terribly powerful, it can really help with the ground game. What upgrades do we have coming from Mobius? No upgrades currently except Mobius armor, which will help these Cobras. So many Cobras. These can die so quickly, and I don't know if Rain realizes it, or maybe I'm crazy and I don't fully understand the strength of Cobras, but they die so fast, but they're so mobile. You can zoom them in here, kill some Feederlings, and run away before soLo could even react. But he does have these Ravagers which can attack air, and here come the Corruptors. Huge amount of Corruptors. This is great. 20 Corruptors moving across the map from soLo. What do we have from Rain that can really stop these besides some missile batteries? He's got 3-4 missile batteries set up. Honestly, Psionic Orb might be all there is against these, and let's see if soLo can react. We have all of those Cobras attacking up on the top right. I'm keeping my eye on this because I want to see if the Orbs work out or not. We did see, I'm watching the minimap, a separate engagement up here where the Cobras got rid of everything here. And there go a few Psionic Orbs going down, but I think at that exact moment, Rain was a little focused on using those Cobras to wipe out one of those extra bases from soLo that he missed this attack down here. And he did lose some Ascendance. He lost a decent amount of units. Here come the Cobras. I'm interested to see how these can match up against these Corruptors. And my opinion is probably not very well. Actually, soLo running away rather than fighting his head on. There isn't a reasonable amount. 55 health is not a lot. I guess the 1 armor. And now we'll see if I eat my words. And I think I'm going to. These Cobras actually cleaning up that huge amount of Corruptors. And I honestly expected the Corruptors to wipe these out. Honestly, I think the Corruptors' weak point is the fact that they do not do well. Because they don't have that bounce attack, they do not do well against large groups of small units. So honestly, those Cobras were the right choice. But meanwhile, we have the Roach Ravager coming in, and here are the Cobras, and they're the Ravagers looking. The Ravager's going to do very, very well against these. And there we go, soLo. Good control, avoiding those slow-moving Psionic Orbs. And the Ravagers turning around, trying to take out the Cobras. The Cobras, though, doing very, very well. They are taking a lot of damage. They go down very, very fast, but there's no AoE here that can deal with these. And they are slowly wiping out these Ravagers. You can see they don't do a lot of damage, but that was a very interesting engagement there, and the Cobra's now going to try to chase down this stuff. We have a lot of Corruptors reinforcing from soLo, trying to shoo away those Cobras, and I never thought I'd see Cobras used to this effect. This is a really, really cool Covenant game because I've not seen it before. But soLo, with excellent control, avoiding those big abilities coming out from the Ascendants, is holding his own. He may transition. We might see him transition into something to get rid of these, and it looks like he is getting upgrades for those Plague Hosts and Brood Hosts, so we'll see if we see any of those. And there's the Infested armor, which is going to be really, really helpful for his roaches on the ground. And then there's more. There's must be more, which is increases creeper counts for Brood Hosts. Now, we didn't see any Brood Hosts last game. Actually, I think he got this upgrade last game, but he didn't ever get any Brood Hosts. They're basically Plague Hosts on the ground. They're like walking carriers as opposed to the flying carriers. Though I did notice it looked like the Locusts could be controlled once they were spawned from the Plague Hosts. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see some more this game. I'm not entirely sure. Decent amount of Roaches moving up. He did find a sneaky hidden base from Rain, but with his creep spread, he's got about, a little over half the map covered. He can move up here and get rid of this. Good air game right now. Even more Corruptors right now. 17 Corruptors, but it's so many Cobras. This is an absurd amount of Cobras. 24, 32, 32, 37 Cobras moving across the map, and even though they're so weak with this amount, he's going to be able to start picking off... Oh, no, the Broodmother level 3, she doesn't have Burrow. Oh, dear. If she goes down, that's all of the tech requirements for soLo. soLo now cannot build anything that required a level 2 or 3 Broodmother until he starts warping another one. But so many Corruptors coming out here, and let's see if this amount of Corruptors can wipe out. There goes the Cobras. They realize I don't think they can handle this many Corruptors. Near comparable in terms of numbers. And again, I suppose the Cobras, when they outnumber the Corruptors, can do well, but 1-to-1, they're never going to win. And here comes a large ball of roaches moving in. He's going to try to push through this barricade that Rain has set up, getting the two players confused as I'm talking about them. And wow, this amount of Cobras is going to chase away these roaches. The thing about these roaches is they're super cheap. At the same time, so are the Cobras. Here come the Corruptors picking off the 4th base of Rain while the Cobras are distracted. The Cobras turning around, zip-zooming across the map, trying to catch up. Going to try to save this command dome. And these Corruptors, I mean, they're strong, but they're not as strong as... I don't know, they're good, there's a lot of them, but again, without the bounce, and they don't do that much upfront damage. We saw it took them a reasonable amount of time to get rid of that command dome. And the Cobras, excellent control by Rain, trying to focus fire down some of these Corruptors. We have a head-to-head battle right here. I'd like to see how this turns out. No other battles going on right here. And the Cobras seemingly have the upfront advantage. We can see so many of them are so terribly, terribly weak. And it's possible the Corruptors, it's so hard to tell right now. I want to say that the Cobras are going to win just because as the Corruptors drop in number, they just can't attack fast enough to get rid of the Cobras. Very good control there by Rain. The way that these Cobras attack is they kind of do a weird circle, and Rain was able to kind of cancel them from doing that to allow them to attack slightly faster. More Corruptors coming in to reinforce, trying to shoo away those Cobras, and we have another big group of roaches coming in. Here's the Vanguard. We're going to see this Vanguard do huge amounts of damage. Wow! Huge Psionic Orb coming out, but these units getting surrounded by the roaches, and we have the sheer number of roaches able to clean them up. Here are the Cobras, though, going to try to clean up these roaches now. These roaches can't tilt up and shoot these Cobras, but wow, that Psionic Orb was incredible. One more would have wiped out all of them instantly. Here come the Corruptors trying to protect their roaches on the ground. One Mobius compound going down. We have a Devotee coming out from Rain. I think he realizes he maybe needs a little more beef here. We have 5 Devotees on the ground. Those will do very well against the roaches. I think they are 0-0-1 as opposed to the roaches that are 3-3. And we have 3-3 in the air, too. Wow, we have... actually, I think they share upgrades, I realize now, the Corruptors and the roaches. And there's the Devotees going to try to force their way through these roaches, but they're enough on the ground that they're going to get taken out. The Warbot's going to go down very, very fast. And it looks like these Cobras, their numbers are getting thinned out. We have a huge supply advantage from soLo, and I want to say soLo has the game. Rain calling a GG right now, and I think a big issue was the number of bases. So much was happening at the end of that game, I couldn't really take the time to go through all the bases, but we had soLo 3 bases up against Rain, and Rain wanted to take this base, but soLo realizing, oh, well, the Cobras are up, kind of harassing me, I have an opportunity to come down and take this base. So even though those Cobras were running free and they're so fast, they can do anything, anywhere on the map, anytime they want, but soLo, knowing the right time to go, taking out those extra bases, and Rain just could not keep up when it came to money. That was interesting, though. We didn't see either player using too much of their Terrazine. In fact, the only upgrade we may have seen being used with Terrazine was that More There Must Be More upgrade, which only affects Brood hosts, which didn't look like they were anywhere in the pipeline for soLo. But either way, soLo very well played, avoiding the big hits from those Ascendants, except that one, but one Psionic Orb wasn't enough to take out all those roaches. There was like one tick away from killing all of them, and they were able to surround and kill both the Ascendant and Harrier. Those were the 2 really big units that Rain had left on the field. Once those were gone, he was able to come in with the rest of the Corruptors and kind of shoo away the Cobras. I did really enjoy watching those Cobras. He had them upgraded pretty well, too. I liked seeing those Cobras in action. I had not seen Cobras used to that extent in any other Covenant game. So really, really interesting matchup. We did see soLo come back and defeat Rain after his loss in the mirror matchup last game. And you know, you 2 players, if you're watching this, play a 3rd game. Let's get a best of right here. We got a little rivalry going on, and obviously 2 very mannered players, not really a rivalry. But it would be cool to see a game 3 if you guys want to try that out, and especially if the Infested race has been redone and one of you wants to play Infested. No pressure. I don't know why. I have plenty of other HeptaCraft replays to cast. I just like the idea of a best of 3. Anyway, this has been JayborinoPlays. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye now.